Attention passionate Seattle Seahawks fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Seattle Seahawks fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. I know you're all tuned in because the Seahawks are always a team full of surprises, and this offseason has been nothing short of a roller coaster. Just when we thought we had a clear picture of what the 2025 season might look like, everything has been shaken up again. You see, with Aaron Rodgers landing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the quarterback carousel has finally come to a standstill, at least for now. And in the midst of all this, one team that's caught everyone's attention, and not necessarily for the right reasons, is the Seattle Seahawks. That's right, the Seahawks, who always seem to find a way to surprise us, have made some moves that could redefine their future at the most crucial position on the field, quarterback. Let's rewind a little. Last season, the Seahawks decided to part ways with Geno Smith, trading him to the Las Vegas Raiders. That move surprised many fans because Geno had a solid season in 2024, leading the team with his experience and leadership. But Seattle, always eager to shake things up and look for new opportunities, made a bold decision. They needed to find a new quarterback, and so, they signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year deal after his breakout year in Minnesota. Darnold, who had struggled early in his career, finally found his groove with the Vikings, leading them to an impressive 14 wins in the regular season. Naturally, there was some hope that Darnold could be the answer, the guy who could help Seattle finally get over the hump in the NFC and make a real playoff push. But, here's the thing, as we look ahead to the 2025 season, a lot of signs point towards some turbulence ahead. Despite the optimism, the reality is that things might not play out the way many hope. The truth is, when the season ends, the Seahawks could find themselves once again scrambling to fill that QB1 spot. And you might ask, if Darnold signed a 3-year deal, why would they even consider moving on after just 1 year? Well, the answer lies in the structure of his contract. See, Darnold's deal has no guaranteed money beyond the 2025 season. That's an important detail because it means Seattle has the flexibility to move on without massive financial repercussions. If they decide to release him with a post-June 1 designation next offseason, the dead cap hits would be manageable, just about $4 million in 2026 and $2 million in 2027. For a team like Seattle, which has been strategic in their cap management, those numbers are quite reasonable. But the bigger question is, why would they want to move on so quickly? And here's where things get interesting. Because, honestly, some people might be overlooking the potential pitfalls of this offense, which, let's be honest, could become a train wreck if things don't improve. The first and most glaring issue is the system itself. Kevin O'Connell's offensive scheme is known for maximizing quarterback talent, but that's not necessarily something that translates to every quarterback. Darnold, despite his talent, might be a victim of his surroundings. Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, is promising and has a bright future, but he's still learning, still growing, and perhaps not quite on O'Connell's level when it comes to unlocking quarterbacks' full potential. So, the concern is, if Darnold is not in the right system, if he's not protected properly, he might regress, and that's a scenario that could push the Seahawks to reconsider their options sooner rather than later. And speaking of protection, let's talk about the supporting cast, the weapons around Darnold. That's a critical factor in any quarterback's success, and it's where the Seahawks might face some serious challenges. Last season, Darnold was used to working with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, 2 top-tier receivers who could make plays at any moment. But now, he's stepping into a different landscape with Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp. While Kupp has been a reliable target and a true playmaker, Smith-Njigba is still developing, and the overall weapons arsenal is arguably weaker than what Darnold had in Minnesota. That's a significant downgrade, and in the NFL, the quality of your weapons can make or break your season. And then, there's the offensive line. Sure, Charles Cross and Gray Zabel are promising, and they've shown flashes of brilliance, but the other three pieces of that line are suspect at best. Remember, Darnold's pressure-sensitive nature was exposed last season, especially down the stretch. When he's under duress, his decision-making can suffer, and if the protection doesn't improve, we could see a repeat of last year's struggles. That's not just speculation, it's a real concern that could lead to offensive breakdowns, turnovers, and missed opportunities. All these issues, when combined, suggest a potential for a rough season ahead, one that could force Seattle to look for alternatives sooner than expected. Now, let's talk about those alternatives. Outside of Darnold, the Seahawks have a rookie, Jalen Milroe, a third-round pick who's still very much a project. He's got some intriguing traits, no doubt, but expecting him to step in and carry the team immediately would be asking a lot. If things go south with Darnold, Seattle might want to give Milroe a real shot, but it's crucial to recognize that that would be a gamble. Ideally, you'd want a veteran presence to serve as insurance, someone with experience, someone who can step in if needed without causing chaos. And here's where it gets interesting, the Browns' situation with Deshaun Watson. Now, I know what you're thinking, Watson's recent play has been a roller coaster, and he's had his off-field issues, but the reality is, given his contract and recent struggles, he could become an incredibly affordable option for a team like Seattle. The Browns might be ready to cut their losses, especially if Watson's performance doesn't improve and they want to start fresh. That leaves the door open for Seattle to consider Watson as a stopgap, a guy who can stabilize the position early in the season. His minimum contract would be a low-risk, high-reward move, especially if the Seahawks believe that a change of scenery could help him regain his form. Imagine Watson coming in, providing stability, leadership, and experience, while Milroe develops behind the scenes. It's a strategy that makes sense, especially if the Seahawks want to avoid rushing rookie development and prefer to keep their options open. The NFL is all about adaptability, and this scenario could give Seattle a competitive edge, at least until they find their long-term solution. The idea of Watson, with his talent and experience, wearing the Seahawks colors, might seem unlikely to some, but in today's NFL, nothing is truly off the table. Teams are always looking for that edge, that veteran presence that can help them weather the storm, and Watson's cheap price tag makes him an intriguing option. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about the future? Will this all be worth it? And that's a fair question. The Seahawks have always been a team that's willing to take risks when the timing is right. With the right coaching, the right weapons, and a little bit of luck, they could turn this potential chaos into a stepping stone for future success. Remember, the entire NFL landscape is shifting rapidly, and the Seahawks are not the kind of team to stay stagnant. They're always looking for ways to improve, to adapt, and to stay competitive. So, to sum it all up, the move to potentially replace Darnold after just one season is rooted in a combination of contract structure, system fit, supporting cast, and the overall health of the offense. It's a bold strategy that could either pay off or blow up in their face, but that's what makes Seahawks football so exciting. The team's management isn't afraid to make tough decisions, and this offseason has proved that they're still committed to building a championship-caliber roster, even if it means some short-term instability at quarterback. And let's be honest, as passionate Seahawks fans, we thrive on this unpredictability because it keeps our team relevant, it keeps us talking, and most importantly, it keeps the hope alive for another Super Bowl run. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Darnold will bounce back, or do you believe the Seahawks are already looking ahead to someone else? Would you be comfortable with Watson as a stopgap, or do you think they should stick with Milroe and develop him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Seattle Seahawks news, because this season promises to be one of the most intriguing in recent memory. Whether it's an unexpected trade, a breakout player, or a coaching move that shakes up everything, we'll be here to bring it all to you, live and loud, just like Seahawks football should be.